as business owners and advisors that you know intellectually that you need to create leverage in your business. It can't all come through you. There's only so much you've got to go around. Now, there's some challenges that come with that. One of them is that, will someone do something as good as I can, and I can do it, I got it, and I will continue to grow through the process, and I'll have more capacity. Some of those things are true, some of those things are partly true. And there's also, do I want to let the control go, have someone do this? What if it screws up the clients? What if my life falls apart? That's where the mindset goes with the flow. There's a couple of examples this week where this popped up that really prevents it. I was working with a group of advisors. One of their commitments the last advisor made in the last session was to look at hiring the next admin. And he said, I didn't really make any progress of it. I've been burnt before, and I had people that really weren't following through, and I wasn't getting my money's worth. And intellectually, he knows that that was just one situation, and he has to grow as a leader in order to be able to give that person the opportunity to step up and be successful, to set them up for success. But something real simple in your business in this week is thinking about, okay, well, how do I utilize the resources that I've got, and how do I start to automatically think when something needs to happen in the business, it's never me that does it, at least in not the first instance. How can I build it through someone else? And so sometimes we think about bigger things than that, like, okay, who's doing all the service work? How can I hand off the service work to the appropriate person to provide actually an even bigger level of service to my clients? But there's also things that get us on the way, right? Keep things smaller. And so an example that'd be resetting with your assistant or someone in your team who's calling on your clients, okay? And maybe the list of the clients that they've got or the prospects that they've got is run dry, or they're not getting the results that they want. And in the time that you'll meet with them, rather than going, oh yeah, let me spend some time, I need to redo the list, or I need to update the CRM, and then you'll have your list back. Use the time that you have with that team member to do that work. It's such an odd thing that we do that, right? If the concept here overall is any time that we focus on using willpower or an expectation that we'll deliver for ourselves, by ourselves, the potential for following through on that just drops. Not because you've got a low standard or you're not capable. It's the environment. Environment is the biggest indicator of getting the result that you want to get to. So if you just write it down on your to-do list, goodness, there's so many levels of this as well. How that works for you will show you whether you can follow through on it. But if you're just scribbling stuff down, I often see that, with people that I'm working with, great to take notes. I'm a big advocate for sure. But if you're just scribbling it down on a piece of paper, it doesn't mean that you're going to follow through. Far from it. It's probably likely you feel like you did the thing to set yourself up for success, then you didn't do it, and you're going to hit yourself over the head because you didn't get to that. Real simple. Rather than telling the person in your team, hey, let me work on that, I'll get a new list for you, and next week I'll come back and I'll send it over to you. Use the time that you already have in the calendar because you know you're going to show up for that. It's never, ever, ever been the case that I've worked with advisors and the problem they've got is they're not showing up for their client meetings. When you make that commitment, you're going to follow through on it. So just quite simply use the time that you have with a team member to actually go through and do the work. Here's how I do that. And you know what? That could be a great teaching event as well, a great coaching opportunity, a great way to build more depth with your team member, also more relationship. Oh, this is how I do it. And even if you're sharing the screen and it's quiet, if you're doing this virtually, that's okay. You're doing the work, you're running through it. And the outcome of that will be you'll be much further ahead as well. So just think about it as an anchor. The time that you've got with dedicated time that you've got with people in your team to do a certain task, wherever that thing is, use that time to push it forward. If you're writing things down, it's not going to happen. Unlikely, at least. If you're writing things down and you've got the time booked for yourself on the calendar, you've upped the chances of doing that. If you've got the time booked on the calendar, it's written down, and it's with someone else, the chances you're going to follow through go exponentially. It's going to be easier. How do we make this easy? Let's make this easy on ourselves so we can deliver the best business we possibly can for ourselves, for our clients, for our family, and keep moving forward.